like you got hit over the head and you're momentarily discombobulated because it is so shocking. Good morning, mushrooms, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers, sisters, mothers, misters, and to all my cousins out there around the world, it's time to plug in and get the train chugging. Allies are your friends. Yeah, you got the enemies, the people who are trying to attack you, and your allies, those are the people who are on your side, on your team. And even the allies make or the case for, if we're going to make the case for something, it's going to try and persuade you, give you a set of facts and a bunch of evidence that can lead you to a conclusion. However, the facts and the evidence and the words that they are giving are misleading. And as you know, this prefix mis means badly or incorrectly. And so it's like, oh yes, come follow me. And they take you off in the wrong direction where you don't want to go, where you will end up arriving at conclusions which are incorrect or otherwise wrong. And so let's learn more in the caption below. The Republican National Convention is underway. Get them words bigger, because that's the point of the show. They're the stars, not me. I'm just the one that facilitates the words for you. The Republican Convention suggests, the whole situation suggests that Trump is at odds with, in conflict with, kind of going against the reality of one of the most turbulent presidencies in generations. The most turbulent presidency in generations. And so turbulent. If you've ever been on an airplane before, you know this term. Whether or not you know it. Turbulent. Coming from the noun turbulent, and it means it's going to be bumpy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're going to be suspending the meal service, and we need to ask you to return to your seats, and please fasten your safety belt, because we're going to hit a few patches of bumpy air, and we are expecting a minor bit of turbulence. Turbulent, coming from the noun turbulence, and that means the bumpy patches of air or rough bits. And yes, it has been a turbulent presidency with lawsuits and impeachments and everything. It's been a rocky road. Let's move on. A parade of dishonesty. I just love that. They could just say with a bunch of lies, but no, it was a parade of dishonesty. Lots of people carrying things, marching along, with lies. It's a parade, one after another, just feeding you, well, dishonesty. And it start off, we could just say it started, but we love our phrasal verbs in English, and so to start things off, to kick things off, to begin. Why do we do it? I don't know. Maybe it's just to make life more difficult for you. Let's move on. Van Jones, former Republican National Party chief, and also coincidentally a black man. Now he's turning against things. He is one of those defectors of sorts, and he calls on every Republican to denounce this move. And so to call on people is to publicly ask for them to do something, to make a big open public request to get people to take some sort of action. And he wants every Republican to denounce, to officially say, no, this is wrong, this is evil, and I will not stand with that. I am against it. Yeah, some people will denounce their country or denounce their family name. Hopefully none of us are ever in that position, but he's asking every true ideological Republican to denounce whatever is going on, because it is not right. Good morning, mushrooms. It's always morning somewhere. Trump will be thrilled. He will be excited. He will be exuberant. He'll be bursting with joy. Has Trump hit rock bottom? We've had this phrase on the show once before. And rock bottom is the bottom of the bottom. If you think about a river, there's the water, flowing along, and in the bottom there's usually mud. But below the mud, then there's usually rocks. And so the rock bottom is the bottom of the bottom. When you hit the lowest point in your life, as they say, you have to hit bottom before you can climb back up again in life. And so they're wondering, has he hit rock bottom? Can it possibly get worse? And, well, all answers point to, I'm sure that it can. Fauci, he warns against premature authorization of a coronavirus vaccine. Pre, meaning before, and mature, meaning, well, basically when it's all grown up, when it's ready. Yeah? Just like you don't want to eat premature bananas, green bananas. Or you don't want to experience premature, you don't want it to go too early before it's ready. Keep testing. Make sure it's safe. We don't want to endanger the population any further. And as the broadcast is underway, mass testing is also underway in Spain. And so in an effort to try and slow things down, testing, contact tracing, etc. But if something is underway, that means it is in progress. It is happening as we speak. It is ongoing. It is underway. Why underway? It just is what it is, folks. Learn it, know it, love it, live it, internalize it, and know that it means ongoing. It's happening. All right, let's move on. Kim Jong-un's sister. He seems, reports say he's in a coma. He's kind of MIA. That stands missing in action, for those of you who don't know that acronym. But Kim Jong-un's sister has been named to another key post. Now that's one of those reduced passives there, present perfect, because we're focusing on the effect. Now she is in that position. In this case, a post is a position within the government, but has been named to another key, vital position within the company, within the country, and has been named, has been appointed. And the question is, by whom? Because you say, Mr. James, it's a passive, has been named to this position. By whom? By the other people who are controlling the country. I don't know who it is. I don't know who's in charge. The board of directors, the ministers, I guess. Footage means the video, the film, because when we had the old cameras that had actual ribbons of film from reel to reel, they measured it in feet. A foot is 12 inches, approximately 30 centimeters. And footage is how many centimeters it took to film things. But the footage shows the aftermath of an illegal party in Peru where 13 died in a stampede. Back in the wild, wild west with all the buffalo, and the buffalo would get scared and they'd all run forward. And then if you were in the way, you would be trampled to death. Sometimes when a crowd gets scared, everyone runs in one direction. If you trip and fall, they will trample over the top of you, trample you to death. That is a stampede, when the herd, when the group all surges forward in mass. The aftermath of a situation, it's always going to be a negative situation, and it's the after effects, the consequences of whatever negative thing happened. He's in big trouble due to some photos and other scandals. I'm not getting into the details here. Look it up. It is pretty scandalous, to use the noun as an adjective. But he is embattled. He's in hot water. He's in big trouble. If you are embattled, it's like you are in battle. There's trouble circling all around you, and it's a very difficult situation, and your future is precariously balanced, hinging upon a few small key points. Just trying to explain with some good vocabulary for y'alls. Making progress, just a simple collocation. You know, we often have make, and we've got do. Do you use make or do you use do? Well, in this case, it's making progress on some sort of topic, in this case trade, international trade between countries, and we make progress. We don't do progress because progress doesn't happen by itself. You know, that's something you can just tick off a list. It's something that you have to create. Yeah, it's not a rule, it's not a law, it's just a loose guideline for when to choose make, when to use do. Do is checklist, some shit that you don't want to do, that just gotta get done. Whereas make requires effort. It's often fun. Tensions, things are tense. They're tight. They could snap, and things could go really wrong, and they are getting worse. Becoming worse. Worse is the comparative adjective. Like many adjectives, you add an en, or in this case just an n at the end, and you have a verb from the adjective, meaning more, make more that adjective. Lighten, tighten, darken, strengthen. Well, that's a noun. Yeah, that always keeps coming up. Either way. Yeah, worsen, becoming worse. A few times on the show, to furlough. We have layoffs and people being made redundant because the companies can't afford to pay them because of economic hardships and crisis. Furlough is just another flavor of being fired, but you're not really fired. You're still with the company, and you're still going to receive benefits like healthcare and some of these things. Meanwhile, you won't be working and you won't be getting paid. Your job is temporarily postponed until further notice. It's not because you did anything wrong. The company just can't afford to keep you anymore. Because they have to give all of their executives those multi-million dollar bonuses for mismanaging the situation. Yeah, Well, the little guy always loses, right? Tropical storm Laura is churning into a hurricane as it heads toward the U.S. Head is a verb. We go wherever our head takes us. Yeah, heading this way, heading that way. It's heading towards the U.S. and it's churning. If something is churning, that's how you make butter from milk. You churn it and churn it. And so it means turning in a circle with force, with a bit of violence. It's shaking things up. Either way, on to some interesting news here. Gandhi's glasses. They were at auction. They were up for sale. People were bidding on them. I'll give you 500, 500, 600. Do I hear 700, 750? One, going twice, going three. Sold to the man. That's an auction. His glasses. Smashed estimates. People guessed or estimated. They assumed or maybe presumed based on prior evidence and using a bit of probability, not just wild speculation, but they made estimates that it would sell for X amount, and then they sold for much more, and they smashed, shattered, destroyed all estimates, blew them out of the water. Everyone was just slack-jawed, dumbfounded, shocked, stunned, bewildered. All right, so on to some chicken news. To launch like a rocket or a spaceship. And so they're rolling out a new product. They're releasing it onto the market, and a new Chicken McNuggets flavor. It's chicken. It actually might taste like chicken. We got chicken here, and we've got chicken here. KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. The company is suspending. They're pausing it. We're not going to use this for the time being because it's not a good slogan. A slogan is a short little bit of words used primarily for advertising purposes, like just do it. They're suspending their marketing phrase, their slogan, because of 19. Do you know what their old slogan was? Finger licking good. They're making the headlines even more interesting, but erupt like a volcano. Most of the time we don't know when a volcano is going to erupt, and it does it quickly, forcibly, violently. And a brawl is a very violent fight. Brawl erupts. A brawl is a very, very violent fight. That's the kind where you see in a bar, where then the guys are grabbing the chairs and the pool cues, and it's just all out. Nobody really knows who's on whose team, and it's just all on and on. I don't think it was that dramatic, but that's what we call clickbait. Doesn't really matter. If you are a something buff, a film buff, you are a film aficionado, depending on your pronunciation, you really like it. You are passionate about it. Some people are model train buffs. Other people are music buffs. Other people are, I guess, cooking buff. But yeah, buff has many other meanings. It also means naked. It also could mean really muscular and cut, ripped, etc. Many different meanings. Let's just move on before I dig a hole for myself. Players get a torrent of abuse after every game. I'm guessing online. I don't think that people are beating them or yelling at them, but I don't know. A torrent, though, it's a very fast movement of liquid, yeah? After a rain, there could be flash floods, and suddenly a torrent goes down the dry creek bed. It was clear skies, but suddenly there was a torrential downpour, and I got completely soaked because I didn't have my umbrella. Torrential rains. You've probably heard that before, coming from a torrent of abuse, a torrent of criticism, a torrent of comments, a torrent of, well, I guess it seems to be pretty much negative things, because when you get caught in it, whatever it is, it's going to make you uncomfortable. Boom! Boom is the sound of an explosion. If something explodes, it goes up, I guess, very quickly. And so a boom, and in economics, boom cycles and the opposite bust cycles, when the economy is crashing and doing very poorly. So we got boom and bust. And so they're trying to cope with this boom. The point being, though, to cope with something, to deal with something. We got cope and deal with, and over here we've got handle or manage. No with. Don't let me ever catch you saying handle with or manage with. I will come there and I'll rip your lips off. No, I won't. But I'll tell you that you're wrong. To reconstruct, to refurbish, all of these different things for making it look better, redoing it. And apparently in an economic downturn, they decided to dump a whole bunch of money into renovating the store, hoping that it attracts or draws, lures in the consumers. Meanwhile, Everyone's shopping online, so says the headline above it. A parody. What is a parody, you might ask? A parody is a portrayal of something else. You're imitating it, you're mimicking it, but in an exaggerated fashion so as to make fun of it, to tease it, to make people laugh, yes. And so you're imitating or mimicking it in an exaggerated way to make fun of it, basically. Trump's sister's staggering verdict. A verdict is a decision usually made by the jury in a court, and they decide guilty or innocent, right? And so the verdict, they issue the verdict, formally give the verdict, the decision about somebody's guilt or innocence. We only see this word meaning a decision, but in very formal context. To stagger, it's like how you walk when you're drunk, yeah? You're just kind of off balance and stumbling around. And so if used as an adjective, if something is staggering, it's like you got hit over the head and you're momentarily discombobulated because it is so shocking. She says, he bad. To discard, to dispose of, to throw it away. And discard it. Discard something, to throw away something that you don't need or want anymore. In this case, they're going to try and say that they are not valid, but it could lead to to this problem and his approach. An approach to a problem, an approach to teaching. It's your way of dealing with, facing, confronting, or just doing any sort of action. Approach means to get nearer, which means move towards something. And so, do we want to approach it from this way? Or do we want to approach it from this way? How do we want to, which angle do we want to hit this from or come at it from? Yeah? Alright, let's move on. To give somebody a run for their money, it means it's not going to be a walk in the park and easy, just, oh, collect the money, let it just shower money upon me. Nah. I'm going to make you work for it. I'm going to make you run for it. The money's over there. If you don't move fast enough and if you don't work hard enough, I'm going to get there first and I'm going to take that money. And so it's just a nice common phrase. To give somebody a run for their money means make them have to work for it. It's not going to be a freebie. It's not going to be a piece of cake, a piece of pie, a walk in the park, or whatever other euphemism or idiomatic expression you choose to use for something easy. And we're going to end it with an easy one, just the dependent preposition. To apologize for something. That's it. And I apologize for how sweaty I am. There's no breeze up in here. I'm dying, man. I'm dying. Let's go back to the beach, huh? For English. Otherwise, that was breaking down the news. Now at 8 p.m. in August and maybe into the future. And so everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the likes, follows, subscribes, and all the thumbs ups, comments, other things that you may do. Maybe you don't like what we do, but I bet you know somebody who would, so pass us along. Spread the word. Help make the world a better place for him, her, me, and all of us all together collectively. If I don't see you sooner, 8 p.m. tomorrow. Bye-bye. Yeah, stop the stream.